Hello, everyone, and welcome to an episode of the BG Show. I'm here joined by my mom, and we're here to talk about Why Lotus Season 3 spoiler review. So if you've not seen the episode, do not move forward. I'm here visiting in New York. We didn't watch the whole season together, but we watched the finale together, and we have some thoughts about it. I always like doing these reviews with someone better than doing them alone whenever I get the chance. So let's just talk about it. And like I said, spoiler review. So we're going to start in three, two, one. Okay, so I got half of my prediction right. We didn't do a video for it, but I expected Chelsea, the younger girlfriend, to die. I didn't expect Rick Walton Goggins to die. Those two went down. He also ended up killing what we found out was his father, and then a couple other bodyguards went down. And then we almost lost the family, specifically the youngest son, and then he came back, which I didn't really love. We'll get into that. But I guess, what is your overall thoughts on the season and the finale?
Well, it was a very slow buildup, extremely slow. But I thought that, they had so many storylines there. They had the three women on a vacation, they had the family from the South, they had the mother who was going to work there, joined by her son. They had the staff member who was the security guard, who was sort of ethically challenged with the gun and all that. And I'm trying to think who else they had there. And so it was very slow. And I figured, well, they were going to develop the storyline and it was going to be some great thing. It was very disappointing, especially for a series that has such fabulous talent. Sam Rockwell, Parker Posey, Jason Isaacs. The honestly, the storyline, the script was as shallow as the characters in it.
Yeah.
I think the real, like you mentioned that, the I don't know about a plot twist, but the big revealing thing was Walter Goggins, his nemesis or pariah, the one that he was after, ended up being his father. He was speaking in previously in the third person, so Walter Goggins didn't realize that was his father. He just killed it. So
Mhm.
that was really the big thing. But there was no story development with the family with Jason Isaacs, and it was very disappointing. Also, the woman, I don't remember her name, the one whose son visited, she seemed to be, the
Yeah.
only
Just put it.
really the only moral person in the whole script of all the storylines, and she did a roundabout when she had $5 million,
Oh
offered
yeah.
to her.
Well, so that was supposed to be, I guess, symbolic of season one. When you see season one.
I didn't see
Oh,
season
so in
one.
season one, I don't know if I guess I'll just say so. What Tanya, who's played by the actress, what's her name? You saw season two.
Jennifer
Yeah.
Coolidge.
So in season one, Jennifer Coolidge meets this woman, and she offers this woman to fund her spa. But then at the end, she kind of flakes out and doesn't really do it. So it's the reverse in this season. She's now the rich one, and she was supposed to help this guy with the spa. And so that's what they attempted to do. I didn't think it'd do it. And I know what you said. There's not a lot of development. I know what a lot of people are going to say. So yeah, that's what they were going for. And I know what you were saying. So this is my huge problem with the show, and specifically the fan base of the show. And I guess a lot of it's the HBO fan base is, every time someone criticizes the show, whether it be the brother storyline, which was ridiculous, or something else, they're like, "Oh, you just have to be entertained 24/7," or "Oh, you're not picking up on it," or this and that. And I just think it's ridiculous. I think, I mean, someone like you or me has watched like so many movies, so many TV shows. Maybe some people, maybe that applies to some people, but I think a lot of people just like having an HBO show. They like sitting down at 9 o'clock on Sunday, have an HBO show. And I think specifically a show like this, I guess they call it like a vibes show where you just kind of like hanging out with the characters in the hotel, and it's just like kind of like a fun watch week to week. My overall problem with the show is that I don't think it's nearly funny enough at all. I think the show needs to be funny. If it was really funny and there was like a lot of funny moments on top of the other stuff, I don't think it's that enjoyable of a watch. I think you're going from group, and I know people are going to say, "Oh, that's the point. It's supposed to be uncomfortable. They're all supposed to be bad people," but I just think it needs way more humor. And I think the dead bodies at the end of the season are a bit of a cop out because without they tease it in episode one, because without that, you really don't. There's not a lot of impetus to, I think, to continue the season without the dead bodies at the end. If you knew no one was going to die, I think that releases a lot of the hook. And I think it's a little bit of a fake murder mystery. It's not like a real one. It's kind of just Yeah.
Yeah, so I think to your point about it being funny, I think the person that brought that in season 2 was Jennifer Coolidge. I mean, she's you could laugh at her, you could laugh with her. She brought comedy to it. Sometimes she seems a little ridiculous and over the top. So she's the one that brought that element to the series. I think that series technically, I mean, I don't know. For me, it's an indicator if you could watch a season that has a link to the previous seasons, but if you're able to understand it, and if it's done well enough, it stands on its own. Like, I don't have to watch the first season to know what's going on. And I just think it's a waste of talent. You had such good talent there. I thought Parker Posey was kind of funny. I've seen her on interviews. Her She nailed the Southern middle-aged privileged woman, if you will. She really, really did. The storyline with Jason Isaacs with the father. I mean, he twice tried to kill his family and really almost did. So he had his awakening, I guess, on the boat. When he came clean, sort of came clean to his family, and also, as you spoke about, this son's that incest, perhaps storyline was totally gratuitous.
And every time you criticize that, someone's like, "Oh, well, haven't you watched Game of Thrones?" As if bringing up the worst ending show of all time is somehow a defense of this show, or like it doesn't. Literally 99.9% of anything that's ever been made hasn't had this stuff in it. So I don't know why. Um, yeah, I don't think it really ended. It didn't really even add anything to the show at the end. I guess I don't even understand. I guess his point is just that stuff happens on vacation, and then you go home and it doesn't get talked about anymore. I don't know, but um, I think a lot of the I don't know. I think a lot of what he's trying to say, like with the Buddhism, I think fell short. Like he did the same thing he did in season 1 and season 2. It's a wealthy family, and the daughter thinks that she's much deeper than she is, but she's really too spoiled, and it's all fake.
Hmm.
And that, I mean, I get it. I just think people are making it. Um, and just coming off Severance, it just surprises me how much people are making this a mystery box show. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I mean, people are talking about for hours and hours about these characters and theories, and just not
If
that there's nothing to
if I
analyze.
could just say, there's really not enough there to really
There's
analyze.
no
You're
meat on the
right.
bone. There's no meat on the bone.
No, there isn't. It's shallow. It's
It's just the set
shallow.
design that give it. It's where it is.
It's
It's in
where it is, but
Thailand.
I
It's
have to tell you something. I don't think this is a ringing endorsement for Thailand. And I know that in season 2, there was a lot of buzz about going to Sicily and going to that resort. It was a better storyline. I don't see. There's no takeaway from this whatsoever.
and this is a huge. Yeah, I think like in talking waste of talent. I think it would have been way better if like they could have just had the dad find out, in episode 3 or 4 that it would have blown over with his business thing, and he could have moved on to something else. But he was just sulking the entire season. So yeah, he didn't do much of anything, and even in season 2, what's his name from The Sopranos?
Michael Imperioli.
He didn't do much of anything in season 2 either. Even though it was a good season, he just was kind of just moping around
So I
too.
was talking to your sister about season 2, and the one element of season 2, a little bit of a takeaway, is that in that family with F. Murray Abraham and Michael Imperioli and the son, at the end of the day, they had the same characteristics,
Mm.
very much. So that was, it was a little deep, but there was no depth here. I can't say that enough about this season. I think the only one that I felt bad for was a little bit of the love interest. What is the name of the character who got the $5 million? What's her name?
Belinda.
Belinda. So Belinda had a little bit of a little love connection, and a possible business interest with someone that was working there. He seemed kind of sincere, and he was kind of left
I thought
bewildered.
I thought this extra, and I think that's another thing that it's just like an extra storyline, but they're trying to go with this, morality thing where she's probably the best person on the show, but then she takes money,
No, she's got it. Just says
and
that, you
so
know
it's like
what,
no one is really.
so much for her moral compass, because it shows everybody has a price, and she had a
And
price.
I didn't want to nitpick the show too much, but at some point you have to just there's huge plot, so I'll go through the plot holes of the show. Number one, after Walton Goggins' character went to the guy's house and like pushed him down, started a whole thing, and then they left. He's going back to the hotel that they own, which makes
Right.
no sense. Obviously, they're going to show up. Like, why
That's
wouldn't he
true.
just get a
That's
account?
true.
So that made no sense. Also, um, Oh, what was I going to say? With the money, you can't just wire $5 million into someone's account, right? Like she's going to do it. Let's say she does a tax.
It's never a problem that I've had,
Let's say
really.
she does a tax return, right? You do a tax return. You're making she's making whatever she's making at that job, and then next year she does a tax
Well, I
return.
mean,
All of a sudden, you have 5 million in your account.
you know what?
It doesn't matter, but it's and also
There's a little bit of poetic license there, you
what is
know?
this? What are they even going to say if they go to the authorities and they say they already know his wife died, right? Because
Well,
he inherited the money, right?
but that's
So he's legally inherited the money, which means they know she's dead. So they're going to go to the Thailand authorities and say, "Hey, this guy killed his wife in Italy. Can you do something about it?"
2 years ago or a
This
year
really
ago.
really rich guy. We have no
Well,
money,
that's why it's not a thriller, because
but it
all
doesn't.
of that is
They have no
just,
leverage though. It doesn't make if they had like videos or pictures or something. They have absolutely.
yeah.
It doesn't even make a little bit of sense. It makes. I think it makes no sense. That actor, is in Napoleon Dynamite. He was Uncle Rico
Yes, I do know
who threw the
that.
football.
I do that with the very bad hairpiece.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
in that,
So
right?
he was good.
Right.
That's kind of weird that they made them the through line. I think there could have been better through lines. Um, I guess the last thing to talk about season 4. What location? I saw, or before I tell you, I guess I saw a report. I think it may have been an April Fool's joke, but well, I guess I'll just say it. They were maybe going to Mykonos for the next one. Where would you go? What location?
Um,
South
I
America
I would say South America. South America has a lot of.
or Africa, like a safari?
I would say South America,
Yeah, like
right?
Brazil, Argentina,
I think
anywhere
so.
really.
I think so. Central America, South America.
They've been to
Although that's a
now.
little bit like with the fauna and the flora, and
Yeah,
like wouldn't go to Costa Rica or anything like
I don't
that.
think they'll go back to back Asian countries, so they won't do like Tokyo or
Hmm.
Japan. But I think they should. I think this season honestly should have been in Japan.
So the standout for me was the soliloquy by Sam Rockwell. That was like, wow. That was
Yeah, that's definitely the biggest like meme
that is, but no, but
internet
that
moment.
right, right. But I thought that was like just kind of incredible. Obviously they built up the script to think something was going to happen when they went to the home of the owner. It was again, I'm going to say it was very shallow.
Did you ever think that his dad would ever be the old lady who went to Thailand and turned into a woman? That's what some people thought they were teasing because after the monologue, when his friend
I didn't even think of that.
they thought that was
I
going to be
didn't
the
even
twist,
think of
which it
that.
wasn't. But some people thought
There
that
was
was a
no
twist.
twist.
Yeah.
Did you think there was a twist?
Well, the twist is just I wasn't expecting certain people to die.
I don't think people were invested into the story of why he was going to kill somebody. I don't think so. It wasn't, it's nobody was really
Yeah.
invested in them.
Also, I think the characters on the hotels should have crossed paths more. Right? Like the family
Maybe.
didn't really interact with.
Thought the hotel manager was very weird. I don't know really what the storyline was with the three women.
And then they have the 3 women who I don't think it was a surprise that none of them died. You kind of knew none of them were going to die. They gave off the vibe. I don't know why. For some reason, I saw them as like their own thing. I knew they weren't gonna. And then yeah, I mean, what did you? I guess the 3 women storyline is the only one we didn't really talk about. That was okay.
It's a lot of people that watch the show for the clothes, for the location, to see what it's like.
Hmm.
It's a I guess a franchise, right? You could say
Yeah.
it's a franchise. So honestly, it almost doesn't matter. They're going to get viewers.
But even though it's still a relatively cheap show to make. I mean, there's really no special effects. Most of the cost of the show is just paying the actors and then paying whatever it costs to rent out the hotel.
Hmm.
Other than that, this is why shows like this get made. I mean, this was made in
So
COVID.
so I was in Sicily last summer, and in Taormina specifically, and there were people just pining to go see
Or the hotel.
the hotel, which was not open for visitors because I think they were flooded with um, so many trespassers just there for that.
Oh yeah.
I don't know that that's going to happen here. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, if this show was made in the early 2000s, there would be
You didn't really see the hotel, to say the truth. You didn't see so many beach scenes. You didn't see the
no
pool.
in this
You
season or in
didn't,
season
no, in
two.
this season at
Yeah,
all. It could have been anywhere.
they would do it like in Miami, but there's so many shows now that's not even. They have to be like more. They got to impress people more than that.
Hmm.
Um, So yeah, those are my closing thoughts on the show. I didn't think it was the worst show I've ever seen, but um, I just think it needs to be way funnier. I don't think it's funny enough. That's the thing for me. Um, and yeah, just some holes, plot holes, and some other things like that. You have anything else?
I don't. I watched a different show after this. I know you haven't watched it. I've been invested in Yellowstone and the prequels to that. So I finished the 1923, which was the opposite of this. Very rich,
Yeah,
very a lot of depth, fantastic storylines. But
and that's the thing is those shows like that would get to shine if they're on HBO. HBO's a huge. This show, I think, if this show was like on Peacock or like on a different streaming service, I don't think it would be nearly as big.
this
But
is kind of it's like watching a soap opera. Honestly,
do
it's I would
you?
never call it a thriller.
I guess last question. Do you think this show would be better if they released all the episodes at one time?
I really never thought of that. I don't know. Probably not, because I think the shows that get released all at once, I find myself watching a series when it's not current. So I have the benefit of binging and watching everything. And the reason why those shows are good is because there's such a cliffhanger at the end of the show that you almost don't want to wait till, the following week.
Hmm.
But there's nothing in the storyline that keeps you like, you nail biting or you know, uh, really wanting for more. I don't think it has. I think the crappy script has is the problem.
And also, I think it was the first season was 6 episodes. The second season was 7 episodes. This was 8 episodes. I think eight's way too many for the show.
They could have done this
They,
in 4 episodes.
yeah, or
Just
even
wasn't
six,
enough.
even six, definitely
It
six.
wasn't enough.
You could have shaved off two. Because yeah. All right, so that's our review. Thanks for coming on. We'll hopefully do more this week. Thanks everyone for watching, and as always, see you on the next one. Bye, everyone.